The current movement for classic trucks revolves around minimalism, with modifications that are not too extreme. Throughout the years, builders have realized that simplicity stands the test of time. When it comes to building custom trucks, I think it's safe to say that all enthusiasts aspire to turn heads with the coolest truck that will leave its mark. But we all have our personal tastes, and trust me, the last thing you want to do is roll up to a meet or a show and everyone cringes at the sight of your ride. Luckily for all of you, I have my finger on the pulse when it comes to trends and modifications for classic lower trucks and can guide you on the path to awesomeness. For this video, I thought it'd be a good idea to clear the air on a few well-known custom tricks that may no longer be cool. Now, I would like to preface this by saying that not everyone will agree with what I think is not cool, and you are always entitled to have your own opinion. Furthermore, there are only guidelines and no solid rules when it comes to creating your own unique truck build. My big thing when it comes to working on trucks is that your personal taste should come above everything else. If you like a mod and can implement it in the vision you have for a custom truck, by all means, do what makes you happy. It's your vehicle that you poured your hard-earned money and effort into, so you should cater to your own taste above all else. With that being said, let's get on to the first mod I think is no longer cool. This would be cowl hoods or any other scoop on a hood, whether it's functional or not. As far as I know, these originated with muscle cars in the 60s and 70s, and even then, some of these hoods were non-functioning styling additions applied directly from automakers. For working versions, the idea is that they pull in fresh and cool air into your engine compartment to feed your motor's intake system for better performance. The tech behind them is legit, but let's face it, they were mostly implemented as a way to make a vehicle look cooler and more aggressive. I think nowadays enthusiasts want a more classic and timeless look, and this mod just doesn't fit the criteria anymore. Now, I don't think these hood editions necessarily look bad, I just think they don't align with the current popular build style of simplicity. In the end, it's probably a good idea to skip this mod and save your build funds for something more beneficial. On a related note, I have never cared for tilt front ends or forward tilting hoods. I understand that they can be functional, as race vehicles had movable sections like this to access suspension components or the engine. I think this became a trend when folks wanted to mimic the exotic look of high-end race cars, but as a mod, I think it just looks like a cheap gimmick that customizers would use to add flair. Now, don't get me wrong here, I'm sure there are ways to implement a front tilting action that looks tasteful, but most times a truck is not buttoned up the way it should be with this mod. And when the front is open, unpleasing hoses and wires become exposed and look flat out unattractive to me. I think we can all agree that messy parts should remain hidden. Now, I know this is not for beginners, but center opening hoods are by far a cooler mod in my opinion. First of all, this mod can dramatically clean up the body lines while making your truck streamlined. On top of that, they usually hide many things we don't want to see and let us focus on the engine. But this mod is not for the weak, as there are no kits here and it involves skilled welding, bodywork, and all-around top-notch craftsmanship. However, the end results can truly be eye-catching. Just to clear the air here, I don't think adding ground effects or body kits is cool in the truck scene. The current movement for classic trucks revolves around minimalism, with modifications that are not too extreme. Throughout the years, builders have realized that simplicity stands the test of time. On top of that, body kits are more of a thing with import tuners, and in general, it clashes with classic American designs. These styles, for the most part, are from two different worlds, and I think truck folk appreciate traditional metal fabrication. Adding fiberglass or plastic styling pieces is highly disliked. However, there are some exceptions to this, as a few limited truck models from the 90s and 2000s had ground effects added as a part of their factory packages. Trucks like the GMC Cyclone, Ford Lightning, and Silverado SS came equipped with special styling kits, and because they are classics now, all their components are pretty much considered sacred. Back in the golden age of street trucks, which I would say was mid-90s to late 2000s, customizers would wildly modify truck bodies to take a slightly different form than their factory shape and lay down wild paint jobs with intense graphics. Oftentimes, builders would smooth out the back end of a truck and add a license plate box, sometimes in a tilted manner. I think this came from the mini truck world, and I never cared for it. To me, it's like a desperate call to get attention with a truck. Relocating the license plate is odd enough, but to me, mounting it at an angle is just plain silly and I never cared for it. In my experience, the idea is to always perform mods in a tasteful way, and tilted plates just look funky to me. While I'm talking about smooth bodies, one thing that was very common, but I think is now becoming a thing of the past, is shaving door handles. I'm not innocent with this one either, as I had the doors shaved on my S10, but it fit the theme of the build at the time. If you're unfamiliar with this, basically customizers weld in pieces of sheet metal to cover the holes left when the handles are removed. Then they add remote-controlled electronic solenoids to pop the doors open. There is also an element of precaution you must take with a truck that has shaved door handles, as you can easily get locked out. If you accidentally leave your keys inside with the windows closed, you will essentially have no way of opening the doors. Also, if for some reason you lose power in the truck, you won't be able to activate the electronic poppers. I always took precaution with my truck and made sure to keep the keys in my hand when I exited. However, there was one time that everything was functioning correctly until it didn't. Basically, the remote died on me and I was shut out. Lucky for me, I had previously installed an emergency cable system under the fender to manually unlock the door latch. The extra effort involved in opening doors on a truck like this is just one of the reasons this mod has been fading away. Ultimately, I think it's just not as cool as it used to be. Enthusiasts appreciate the original look of these trucks and may opt for a set of billet door handles to dress things up. Taking things a bit further these days, my friends at Kindiga Designs have their own door handles that are sleek but have an analog function. However, the funny thing about them is that you have to basically weld in a new pocket, which is about the same amount of work as completely shaving them off. But they function and look great when installed correctly. Next up, let's talk about big audio systems. This one goes back to the mini truck days, as some folks would fill up their beds with speakers in order to blast tunes. I've seen all sorts of insane setups, like straight up walls of speakers. They were mostly done for show purposes, and there were even contests to see whose system was the loudest. But honestly, no one needs a system that big for practical purposes. This evolved to other custom speaker enclosures that were made to fit inside trucks for a better appeal and flow with a build. This was more common in the 90s extended cab trucks, as customizers would remove the compact rear seats and create intricate fiberglass boxes. But I think with time, the style has just plain become outdated. Now, you can still have a banging system in a truck, but most like to blend them into the interior better. Just to be clear, I'm not an audiophile, but from my experience, all you need is a set of amps, subwoofers, component speakers, high quality wiring, and a decent head unit to make a good sounding system. This can all be easily hidden so that it is not distracting or in your face. Furthermore, old school head units with CD players have become outdated. Practically nobody uses CDs, and Bluetooth connectivity to a library of music on mobile devices has been where it's at. What's popular now are retro-styled head units that resemble the originals, or even super compact Bluetooth control units that can be hidden. Lastly, I know some may not agree with me, but I think when it comes to classic trucks, wraps are not a hot mod. Yes, I have brought this up in different videos as a budget solution, but to be honest here, it's mostly not a cool way to stylize a truck. I meant what I said before, but I think we can all agree that when it comes to finishing a truck to a high level, paint will always reign supreme. In the end, I don't want to shame anyone from choosing this method, as it might be your best option with your budget. In fact, I do think in certain cases it's the best route. For those that have certain special edition trucks that came with vinyl stickers, they can fade with time, and reproductions may be needed to retain the original look. So when it comes to this subject, I say tread lightly. There you have it, folks, my views on several truck mods that may be considered hot or not. If you have any thoughts on these, feel free to voice your opinions in the comment section. And just as I've said before, if you like any of these mods and want to apply them to your ride, don't let anyone stop you from owning the truck of your dreams. Well, that just about does it for this video, and we thank you for watching it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future video, and we will catch you next time.